We've swapped out the big mirror for lots of storage.
Hey, Guy here. Welcome back to Amore Van. Today's project is a bathroom storage mod. As you know, our Embassy Dolphin Class B RV has this great mirror in the bathroom, and it swivels and it lights, and it's a fantastic mirror. But you know, when we're camping, we don't really need this big mirror. It's not like Roseanne is putting on a lot of makeup, and I don't use the mirror very often, and so we decided that this is really prime space that could be used to achieve a lot more storage. So we've got some plans for it. So I'm gonna work on that project today. And first things first, in order to do what we want to do, this mirror has to come off. Because it's a lighted mirror, it has an electrical connection behind the mirror. So the first thing that you have to do is unhook those wires. The orange tabs in the connector lift up, and that makes the wires slip out easily. So I'll do that first. Okay, next, after that electrical connection is gone, the next thing that has to happen is that the mirror has to be unfastened from the bracket that's holding it. And in order to do that, you'll see, if I move the camera down here, that there is, at the base of the mirror, underneath the mirror, this screw. That screw has to come out, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, so now that I've taken that screw off the bottom of the mirror that holds the mirror to the bracket, I ought to be able to just lift the mirror up and off the bracket. So here we go. And there it comes. So with the mirror removed, that exposes this bracket that the mirror has been hanging on. And so that's the next thing that has to go. And in order to remove that, first things first, we have to remove it from this swing arm in order to be able to pull the bracket all the way up and expose some other screws that have to come out. So we've got to take these nuts off of these bolts here, and that's what we'll be doing next. Okay, now you can see I've gotten the nuts and bolts that were holding this frame, the mirror frame, onto this swing arm. And having removed that, that now allows me to pivot this frame all the way up. And once I have it pivoted all the way up, I'm able to access the screws that are holding these hinges on, which are the last thing holding the mirror to the marine plastic panel behind it. So that's the final step to removing this bracket. I have to take those 6 screws out, so I'm going to do that now. All right, so now that I've taken those 6 screws out, I was able to remove the entire bracket. So the next step, in order to get my nice clean marine plastic workspace here for fastening our new stuff, is I've got to take off this swing arm, which is just held on by these 2 screws. So they are the next to go. Okay, with the swing arm now gone, the next thing that has to go is this bar down here, which is the magnetic bar that Embassy installs to hold that mirror down. So I don't need that there anymore, so I'm going to take it off. I'm going to set it aside because it's possible that as part of this project we may repurpose that. But for now, I'm going to take it off. Okay, now you can see I've removed that magnetic bar as well as the marine plastic bar that it was fastened to. And so the only thing left to do in order to create a nice flat surface in which to install our new stuff is I've got to deal with this electrical wire that's coming out of the wall. So what I'm going to do is I don't want those 2 exposed wires there once I move this back into the wall. I don't want there to be any danger of them touching each other and creating mischief. So I'm going to go ahead and put the electrical connectors, the two connectors, back on those wires just to protect them. So I'm going to do that now. All right, you can see I've put the electrical connectors back on those 2 wires, 2 separate connectors, in order to keep those wires from making contact with each other. I could have achieved the same thing with some electrical tape, but since I had those connectors left over, I went ahead and used those. And now I'm going to try to move most of this wire back into the wall. So I've discovered that I don't have enough room, enough of an opening to get this whole insulated tube back into the wall with the wires. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off this tube so that I'm dealing with only the wires. All right, let me explain a little bit about what I've done here. So it turned out with those two electrical connectors there that it was still a little too bulky to get it back into the hole where those wires were coming out of. So I removed one of the electrical connectors and put a little tape around that exposed wire. At that point, I was able to get both wires, one covered by electric tape and one covered by a connector, back into the hole in the marine plastic. I didn't shove them all the way back into the wall on the theory that, you know, you never know what the future may hold. I might decide someday that we want those wires, that who knows, we're going to put back the mirror or what have you. So they're just in the hole in the marine plastic, not back into the wall. And then I put a piece of black tape over the hole in the marine plastic just to cover it up. And so now I have this nice flat marine plastic surface on which to work for the remainder of the project. So the first part of our storage project now is I'm going to install this basket on that nice wall that I've created by removing the mirror. So the first thing I have to do is drill pilot holes for the anchors. I've marked already and measured where the first pilot hole is going to go. I'll mark the second pilot hole after I've got the first one in and can, you know, draw a level line. All right, so I've put the first screw in here, and after drilling a small hole and testing the screw to see if it would catch well, and realizing that everything that was already screwed into this panel for the mirror was just in with screws and no anchors, I've decided not to use the anchors because the screws alone seem to be catching just fine. So having put the first one in now, I'm going to make myself a level line in order to position the second screw. Okay, so you'll see now that I've put both the screws in and they're hanging up this nice basket. You might also notice that we put back the screws that used to hang the hinge for the mirrors, just so we wouldn't have holes there in case there was a draft and we didn't want to lose the screws. So we put those back. So now it's on to the next piece of this storage solution. All right, the next part of our new storage solution is this metal medication box. So whether we're going to use it for medication or not, I don't know. But it's a nice storage box that we're going to put on the wall. You'll see that it has a lock. Not so much that the things that are in there really need to be locked up, but that's a nice effective latch to make sure it doesn't come flying open when we're on the road. So that's next. Okay, once again, I have marked a spot for my first pilot hole, and once I've got that, I've marked a spot for leveling purposes, and I'll be able to get my 3 screws to hang this box. All right, we got 2 of the 4 things that we're putting on this wall are now up. We've got our basket, and we've got this nice little medicine box, or what have you, box that has a latch. And now it's time to continue. All right, if this looks familiar, it's because it's just like the other basket. It's going to go beneath it. So just as before, hard to see in this video, I think, with the reflection and the lighting in here, but I've marked spots for the 2 screws that the basket's going to hang on. Okay, you can see the 2 baskets are up and our little medicine box, and there's only one missing piece to this project, and that's what's going to go up in this corner right here. So that's next. Okay, so the last thing to go on the wall is a mirror. So we didn't want that great big mirror that we had because we wanted some storage, but we still wanted some mirror. So we've got this pivoting mirror that swivels away from the wall and also turns and magnifies, and just like the other one, it lights up. So we're going to put that up now. So the mirror comes with this plate that gets fastened to the wall first, and then everything else screws onto that. So I'll be drilling some pilot holes to put this plate on in order to secure the mirror.
Okay, so we have our mirror up now, and it swivels, it pulls out, it lights up, 2, 3 different lights, it swivels, so you can really see your wrinkles, and then it fits nicely back in its place.
Okay, but this project is not quite finished because this, as you can see, swings out as it's designed to do, but this is a moving vehicle. So you may recall at the beginning of the video when we removed the magnet that was holding the mirror down, I said that I put it aside because we might be repurposing it, and this is where we're going to do that. So we've cut that magnet down to size and readjusted the placement of some of the magnets, and I'm going to install it here in order to hold the mirror in place. So, all right, you see I've reinstalled a portion of the magnet bar, and so now that holds firmly against the wall until we need to pull it out. So we just wanted to get an idea of how much storage space that we've gained. And so we've put here on the sink a number of items that normally would be taking up space in one of our drawers or cabinets. Now, this isn't necessarily the things that we would put in the new bathroom storage. This was just to give us an idea of how much we might be able to fit. So Rosanna is going to see if she can make everything that is on top of that sink that would ordinarily be in our drawers and cabinets fit in our new storage. So go ahead. How do we do?
Okay, it all got in here. All fits.
All right. So that's excellent. That's at least a couple of drawers worth of stuff that we've been able to move. Again, we probably won't make the same choices that we've made here just for demonstration purposes, but you get the idea of how many things we can now fit where this mirror used to be. All right, so just a few more things I want to talk about with respect to the project and talk about measurements and so forth. But one of the things I want to point out is that in addition to all of the space that we just showed you that we were able to put stuff in, you may notice that this space on this shelf down here has also gotten considerably more roomy. If you remember, the mirror used to stick out about this far, right? And about this low, and so it would block some of this space. So in addition to all this new space, we've got some new space back in here that we can use. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about measurements, since I'm sure people are going to ask. The most important measurement that you might neglect if you're not thinking about it is this one here. And if Roseanne comes in, I'll show you. It's the distance from this piece of plastic to this notch, right? That's roughly 5.5 inches. Why is that important? Because if you come out any further than I've come out here, you're not going to be able to do this, right? So you may, once you take your mirror off, those of you who decide you're going to do a similar mod, you might want to, experiment with other things that you would prefer to have on the wall other than what we've done. Just remember to, all the builds are slightly different, so measure very carefully from the marine plastic to the back of this notch and make sure that nothing you buy sticks out far enough to impede the ability of the table to fit back into that notch. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make it work. So the other measurements that you are going to be interested in here is top to bottom. Here to the bottom is 25 inches. Now, I tried to only use the first 18 of that because I wanted to leave this nice space for this shelf down here and didn't want anything blocking the water inlet, and I wanted to open up this space in the way we've discovered. But 25 is what you have to work with, but remember not to use the last few. So the next measurement is wall to wall, which was 27 inches. Again, you should do your own measuring because, as we know, there are small variations from build to build. So 27 inches, which was just wide enough for us to get this medicine box next to this basket. So for example, the two baskets would not have fit side to side. As far as the dimensions of each of these items, there's going to be a link in the description and comments to this video, a link to each of these items, and if you follow that link to Amazon, you'll see the dimensions. But if you decide to do your own project that involves taking down the mirror, just pay particular attention to the measurements, particularly don't come too far out from the wall or you won't be able to put your table back up. All right, so that's a mod that we've been waiting to do for a long time. Just took us a while to figure out how to get that mirror off. And now it's done, and hopefully you found it helpful. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see our past and future videos. Finally, if you look in the description and comments to this video, you'll find links to all of the products that we installed in our bathroom. All right, see you next time.
We hope you found this helpful, and we'll see you next time here on Amore Van.